but I just remember doing it.
If
Bam, bam.
if that's
Thank you,
losing your virginity, then I lost my virginity when I was like 4, 5 years old.
You know what?
You was hunching at 4 or 5?
Hey y'all, my name is Jasmine Jones and you are now watching Black Girl Therapist in the Wild, and this is a video about why black men don't have agency over their bodies and how it influences the greater public. And yes, I know I haven't been on for about 2 weeks. I needed another hiatus because this doesn't pay me. And the job or jobs that does pay me exhaust me occasionally. So sometimes I'm just gonna have to take some time off, unless YouTube, if I get enough subscribers, then I will probably be more consistent with this. But until then, you're just gonna get the best that you can get from me, and this is it. I think I'm pretty consistent though, you know. For the most part, I don't go months without posting videos, so that's something. And I try to make them good enough so that, you know, they can be entertaining for you to go back and watch later. So, with that being said, welcome. And the reason why I'm making this video is because I've been talking to a lot of clients this week, especially my male clients, just about agency, consent, feelings of self-worth. And I was also watching that show, A Teacher, on Hulu, which is basically about a student that gets molested by his female teacher. You know, he gets groomed, he gets molested, he gets found out. I haven't finished all of it, but it's a pretty good show. So anyways, I'm thinking about all these things, and it makes me wonder, like, do men really have agency over their own bodies? Do they feel a sense of connection to their bodies? A sense of being able to understand that they have the right to consent? And from what I've noticed, I don't think a lot do, because in order to do that, you have to have a connection to your emotions and how things make you feel. And in a lot of cultures, especially cultures of color, there is a lot of patriarchy, especially in the black culture, because I'm black, and so, you know, a lot of this is going to be focused on black men, but it applies to most cultures that are patriarchal, in that men are not allowed to express their emotions from a very young age. Boys shouldn't cry, you know, act like a man, all this other stuff, you know, and that is an environment that is very toxic and creates toxic people. So, you know, what I say when I mean that men have no agency over their bodies and how society affects that is that 1 in 6 men will have been either molested or sexually assaulted in their lifetime. That's a high number, but it's even higher because there are a lot of unreported cases, or cases where men felt like they lost their virginity, because that's what society tells them when a 40-year-old woman has sex with a teenager. You know, and or a man, you know, they lost their virginity, or if it's a man, they have to act like it didn't happen, or else their peers will say they are gay, when in reality they were sexually assaulted. So when men are abused or sexually assaulted by a woman, let's stick to women for right now. In American society and in a lot of different cultures, it is praised, like, oh, you're the man, you got lucky. And the scene in The Teacher, you know, he keeps repeating in the mirror every time that he's, you know, her and him, every time he's molested. There you go. I'm just going to say it. I don't care if he appeared to like it or not. He was molested. You can see it in the confusion that he has about the whole situation, and the fact that he spent the whole weekend of his 18th birthday with this woman at some cabin and didn't spend it doing what kids do on their 18th birthday, hanging out with friends, talking to girls their age, being a kid, and all this other stuff. So every time he's molested, he stands in the mirror and he will say, you're the man with his eyes brimming with tears. So you know that it affects him. He's traumatized, but he doesn't understand that he's traumatized because we don't allow men as a society to feel the emotions that come with being traumatized, especially black men. There is a Chris Rock comedy, and I'll put a clip here.
I don't know, man. What I talk about my gay uncles. See, your uncles prepare you for life. You got enough uncles that prepare you for life, because your uncles, you got every type of uncle. You got your gay uncle. You got your alcoholic uncle. You got your stealing uncle. You got your molester uncle. Everybody got that one molester uncle. And you know your mama's like, where them kids at? They were Johnny. Get them kids! Get them kids! Hurry up! Get them kids! Don't you leave them with your Uncle Johnny! Don't you leave them with your Uncle Johnny! Later on, you get molested, your mama get mad at you. That's what you get. Hanging around fucking Johnny. I told you about that shit. Now walk it off.
Where he's talking about the different types of uncles that we have in our families, in black families, and how our uncles will teach us about life. And he mentions the molester uncle and how the moms try to keep you from the molester uncle, but if you get molested, they blame it on you and say it's your fault and things like that. And it's a very true sentiment. We know that there are people in our families that touch the children, but instead of calling the police or doing anything about it, just as we have been taught from childhood and cycled through generations to not address how we feel about a situation, we just ignore it. But then we keep our kids away from him. So it's that cognitive dissonance at play. It's that we know you molest children. We're not going to do anything about it, but we're going to try our best to keep the children from sitting on your lap at family events. And then if the children get molested, we either ignore the children or blame them for what happened. So if 1 in 6 men will experience sexual abuse, that means that there are a large portion of men walking around, in multiple cultures who will be sexually assaulted. So there's a lot of men walking around traumatized without realizing it. And they, of course, display all the symptoms of trauma, PTSD, inability to form positive relationships, inability to control emotions and things like that. A lot of times when we involve ourselves with men, cis men, of course, I'm talking about cis men raised as men in this society, we notice that they only have a few emotions sometimes: happy, angry, or calm. So a lot of times when you're involving yourself with men, it's harder to get to the deeper things about how they really feel about stuff. It's harder to get to see them cry, It's harder to get to see them, express deep emotions about things because it's considered gay, or, whatever society has told men or their family has told them individually about emotions. And so when we're involving ourselves with men, oftentimes men wonder, why do you treat me like your ex? Why do you, act like I'm going to do something to you? Why do you do this? Why do you do that? You have to recognize that since 1 in 6 men, and probably more, have experienced sexual trauma or some kind of trauma period in their lives and have been told for their whole lives to not address it or express any kind of emotions that, go beyond the basics of angry and happy and calm, then, there's a lot of men walking around that are like cornered animals, live wires, just walking around full of hurt and pain and looking for people to put it on, rather than dealing with it themselves because they haven't been taught by society that it's okay to deal with it themselves. But you never know who it is, though. You never know who it is until shit hits the fan and they're triggered. So basically, you are spending time with, going on dates with people that you don't know if it's just going to take one trigger to make them act out. You don't know because you don't know their history of trauma. I see so many videos about dating and advice to women, and they always say shit like, don't talk about your traumas to men. Don't open up about shit to them. Don't have those they don't need to know that because they'll use that against you. No, they won't use it against you if you set boundaries. If you see them using it against you and you set a boundary and you say, hey, no, then there you go. But anyways, and I'm sure that men, because they don't recognize the trauma as trauma, or because maybe they aren't able to verbalize how it makes them feel because they haven't been allowed to talk about their feelings. So they're basically walking around as live wires. They're basically walking around, a lot of them, not all, there's always outliers, but with 1 in 6 men experiencing some kind of sexual trauma, and then, of course, in between that, there's physical abuse, emotional abuse, other types of trauma that people experience too. And then being told not to talk about it or express how they feel about anything that's even slightly deep. You have these people walking around, there is a video, and I'll put it on here too, of the baby, the rapper.
Well, I just remember doing it.
If that's losing your virginity, then I lost my virginity when I was like 4, 5 years old.
You know what? You was hunting at 4 or 5?
Yeah.
What? On what?
Like, never mind.
The babysitter?
Speak on it.
The babysitter?
No, like stuffed animal.
Nah, hell, fuck no.
Cushions.
Nah, I ain't no freak. I ain't no freak.
I had to stuff alligators. Stuffed animals.
But like I remember shit like I got like 2 older brothers and shit. So I remember like the older niggas from the neighborhood. They used to come to the crib. Like my mama worked 2 jobs. She get off her job and go work on another job. She wouldn't even be home. And my brothers would come straight home from school. We little ass boys. Yeah, they had this little girl and they had a girl, not a little girl. They was grown. My brother was a kid. My oldest brother was a kid. So I'm a kid.
Right.
I'm literally like 5 years old.
You literally the baby.
Yeah, for real. I'm like 5 years old. And yeah, they in there doing whatever they was doing. And I was copying off them niggas.
You ain't know what you was
Humping
doing.
on
That's
the
crazy.
leg, you know what I mean? Sucking on the titties, that type of shit.
And she was okay. That's so
like
gross.
5 years old.
And how old was she?
Bitch R. Kelly me.
Talking about how he was molested when he was 4. This is the show, just how insidious this is. He's in an interview telling people, group of women, that he lost his virginity at 4. He said he lost his virginity at 4. Chris Brown said he lost his virginity, I think at 11, to a 15-year-old. Who else? Lil Wayne said he lost his virginity at 11 to a 15-year-old. All these men are describing this as losing their virginity. I'm not laughing at them. I'm more so laughing at the audacity of society to make these men think that is losing their virginity. So anyways, he's sitting in a group of these women and they're just like, what, how? Laughing and giggling. And he's just sitting there like, I feel like his body language is saying he's uncomfortable. He's uncomfortable, but he doesn't know how to say that to them. So he just goes along with the societal norm of saying, I wasn't such and such, and whatever the conversation was about. But it was just so uncomfortable to watch somebody say and speak on their trauma and not have anybody react to it and just act like it's funny. Like, would you, if your 4-year-old child came to you and said a grown woman or even an older teenager touched him, how would you react to that? Like, I would want to murder. If a grown man tells me that he was molested as a child, I don't care if he phrases it as lost his virginity or whatever, I would be highly upset for him. I would be like, are you okay? Did you go to therapy? How are you working through this? Do you need a hug? But no one, every time there's one of these interviews, no one says anything like that. They just ask, how was it? How were you able to do that so young? It was Like he was doing trigonometry at 4 or some shit. How are you able to come up with these calculations at 4 years old, bitch? And so this isn't to excuse the misogyny, the misogynoir, the sexist behaviors and things like that. It's more so to shine a light on it. You know, some of the symptoms of sexual trauma is promiscuity, inability to trust other people, lack of sense of self, of understanding who you are as a person, understanding your own body, inability to form a cohesive, positive relationship. How can you form a positive relationship with somebody when you don't even know yourself? You don't even know your body. And then you think of like all the men out here that are like fuckboys and players and trying to have all these women and can't get into a decent relationship, and hobosexuals couch surfing on any bitch that'll take them in and things like that because they don't know themselves or understand their emotions or their wants and needs as people. And there's levels to this shit, of course. You know, the hobosexual is not going to be the same as the serial rapist, but the same thing may have happened to them. They just responded differently. The hobosexual is unmotivated and depressed. The serial rapist may be, you know, could have a myriad of things going on with him that makes them decide and choose to hurt people to feel better temporarily. But it's on the same spectrum because the same thing probably could have happened to both of them. It's just they're not realizing that they were traumatized. They're not realizing that they were hurt. You know, I often think because there is a compulsion to repeat our traumas.
The other interesting thing, and we were talking a little bit about the id, is something that Freud developed, which is the compulsion to repeat, or the repetition compulsion. And he felt that we tend to replay bad decisions over and over and over based on probably early traumas.
A compulsion to go around similar things that remind us of our traumas. And I often think some of the men, not all of them, because some of them do it just because they're in the closet because the world is a fucked up place, but some of them, the ones that are very adamant that they're not gay, the men on the down low that are adamant, I am not a gay man, I just like to get my dick sucked occasionally. I feel like a lot of them may be repeating trauma. So think of it this way. When children are molested, they don't know how to cope with that. So if they happen to have an orgasm, because your body will automatically respond to stimulations a lot of times. So a lot of people get sexually assaulted and feel guilty because they've been, you know, because they had an orgasm. Your body just responds. It's like how you breathe. Like if you hold your breath, your body's going to make you breathe. You know, things like that. You can't just hold your breath manually and think that you're just going to pass out or something. Like usually you breathe eventually. So since they don't necessarily know how to cope with it, they cope with it using the orgasm. And so those overly sexual children that are always playing with themselves or things like that, masturbating a lot and stuff like that, usually have been sexually abused. And so that can follow you into adulthood with sex addiction, addicted to the gender that molested you, but not necessarily feeling like you're gay. I feel like it's connected, because why are a lot of them so adamant that they're not gay? It's a repeat of trauma for some of them. You know, I keep switching between a lot and some, but I feel like, because so many of them, when they're on the down low, so many of them say that, like, I'm not gay, I'm not a gay man, but they do these activities. So I feel that, you know, a lot of them are repeating their trauma and don't realize that they're repeating their trauma as a coping skill. You know, a lot of them describe it as an urge and things like that. When they get that urge to be with a man or a woman being with a woman, you know, and they don't see themselves as gay. A lot of the times I feel like it is a compulsion to repeat trauma. And I'll leave the article, that's written about it down below so you guys can read it so you don't think I'm being homophobic. Like, what is she talking about? All them people are gay and she's trying to deflect. No, I'm not. Being gay is a real thing. And I'm not saying everybody that's gay has been molested. I'm just saying that some of those people that are adamant that they're not gay and also on the down low may have been molested and they're repeating their trauma. There you go. That's all I'm saying. So we repeat our traumas in our relationships and how we treat ourselves. We repeat it until we get help. And, this is what this video is about. Get help. Go to therapy. If you feel like there's an emotional pain inside of you, if you feel like there's an urge that you don't understand, if you feel like, you have issues in your relationships, whatever it is that you feel is off about you mental health wise, you should get help for that. It's okay to get help and to talk to a therapist. Break the bondage of what society and what cultures tell you is wrong when it comes to your mental health. I remember when I was younger and I was at like an event with my family and I had these two little cousins. They were like literally three-year-old boys, and they were outside, like they were like fighting. Like they were socking each other in the face. And everybody in the family just kind of looked and then let them keep fighting. Like just pounding each other like really hard. You can hear, like I was sitting by the sliding glass windows and they were closed, the sliding glass doors, and they were closed. And you could hear this little child's fist hit this other little child's face. And I was just like, so no one's gonna do any, like they let them fight for a smooth 10 minutes before somebody went out there to break it up. And it was just like, well, they're boys and boys are supposed to fight. And I'm just like, the fuck? Let that be my child. My child's not about to be out there getting socked in the face like that. What are they fighting about? Fighting should be about self-defense, or like if it's a sport. Why are they hitting each other in the face at 3 years old? Why aren't they playing tag or hide and seek or cars or something? And it just made me upset because I just felt like this is what we're teaching our little boys, and then they're gonna go out in the world and think that it's okay to be angry and violent all the time and never address how they really feel. And statistics show it. Most women that are murdered, especially black women, are murdered by partners, male partners. A lot of violence towards women is from men in general, and that means something. I'm not saying that women aren't violent. I'm not saying women aren't pedophiles. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that this is a patriarchal society and men rule shit. And since they rule shit, their sicknesses and illnesses are going to trickle down and affect everybody else. Look at Trump. That's why that happened. He's a narcissist. Something's wrong with him. And I don't diagnose real people on here, but 4 years of that bullshit, he's a fucking narcissist. I said what I said. There's enough time to tell what somebody is, okay? So since this is a patriarchal society and most cultures are patriarchal, fix yourselves, because I truly believe that we can't be a whole society unless the other half fixes themselves, because women are already doing it. Women are out here, black women are out here ruling it, running it in the college field, entrepreneurship field. Black women are divesting from black men in particular. White women are saying things. There's a whole video about how a white woman is just like, so white women don't see black men as a status. They're just something to do, basically.
Bust they motherfucking head.
If you grow up as a white girl,
Yes.
and you get attention from black guys,
Yes.
in my experience and all the other white girls that I know, we don't think that getting attention from black guys gives you a status of some sort. If you get attention from the white guys, you do have the status more than if you get attention from black guys.
As a man, I'm going to have to respectfully disagree with that.
Well, as a woman who gets attention...
As a man, I'm gonna have to respectfully disagree with that. Nigga, you ain't got a leg to stand on. How you gonna tell a white woman how her culture look at her? Y'all in denial. She tell you in your face that you are not the prize. You are not as desirable as you think you are. But you in denial and no, I'm gonna have to disagree with that. And you make yourself look like a motherfucking scrub on the internet for the world to see you get your damn feelings hurt. That's pathetic. It's fucking pathetic. Let's move on.
And who grew up in a white culture more than a black culture, I'm gonna tell you that getting attention from black guys is not a badge of honor if you're white.
Okay.
And I'm white.
You are white.
Yes. Now, if a white girl gets attention from a white guy, that's more valuable in white culture than if she gets attention from a black guy. If she gets attention from a black guy, that doesn't make you a better anything. Like, that doesn't raise you in anybody's eyes. As a matter of fact,
in some people's eyes, it does.
As a matter of fact, it's a little bit of a.
The only people that look at that like it's something that's a status symbol type situation is other guys that think like you.
Y'all, your preference doesn't like you. Your preferences, your colorist preferences. Now, I'm not talking to the ones that genuinely found a white woman or someone non-black and fell in love and they love each other. No, I'm talking to the ones that have preferences. They don't like you. You know, you had a smooth, let's say from the 80s, the 90s, the early 2000s, till now to fuck that shit up. You know, y'all had interracial dating. They made it legal in what, the 60s, the 60s or some shit. I'll even give you the 70s. Y'all had what, 70, 80, 90, 2000s, 2010s. Y'all had 50 years to fuck up some shit when it comes to how other races of women feel about you. 50 years to let them know that, oh no, the black women, they were right. These men have something going on, because black men have tiers of trauma. They have potential abuse trauma. They have the trauma of being a black man in a white society trauma. What other traumas could they potentially have? Not being able to express emotions because society trauma. You know, so they got like levels and shit of trauma. And because our culture says don't acknowledge your emotions. Don't look at them and feel things. No one is dealing with this. So it's just being passed on generation to generation to generation. No one is, you know, we're teaching our boys not to cry. I have so many male clients that come in and say shit like, you know, I don't know who I am. I don't know how to feel things. I don't know how to respond to things. And we basically have to start from scratch. I have black male clients who don't even, you know, have agency over their bodies when it comes to just walking around and living life, because they have to worry about how women see them, white women see them, so on and so forth, you know, because they're a man and they're black. And don't let them be tall, you know, are hefty or anything like that, because they are dark skinned and big and things. So it's like you're always on guard from your inside to your outside. It's like you can never really be at peace. And that's what therapy is for, is to help you find that place where you can be at peace and that you can work through that trauma of walking around in society as a black man, walking around in society as a black man who's been abused, walking around in society as a black man who's been told not to express his emotions. You know, I mean, think of it this way, men have no agency over their body to the point where if they're catcalled, they have to act like it's not a big deal. Like women, you know, we have a little more leeway because we fought during the feminist movement. We fought during all of the feminist movements, through the Me Too movements, to get some recognition for the sexual assault and sexist behaviors that have been directed towards women and black women and girls. Even still, we got work to do though, but it's more readily recognized if we get catcalled and we cuss somebody out as a valid reason to cuss somebody out than it is for a man if he gets catcalled by a woman or by a man. You know, having that space invaded, not being able to say anything. Think of it this way. Imagine some woman walking down the street and grabbing a man by his junk. You know, my first imagining is not of that man acting like offended. My first imagining is that man acting like he's perfectly fine, because that's what society tells the men to do, you know, like, or, you know, I don't know, like just situations that happen with men where they can't say anything, they can't do anything, they have no agency. So not only are they walking around with all this anger from past things, they're walking around with this anger from present things too. And so what happens is they transfer and project that anger onto women and objectify women instead, because, you know, they can't embrace their own shit. So why not put that shit on other people? You know, this is how I'm treating you is how I really feel inside, basically. How I see you as an object is how I really see myself, because I have no connection with my body or who are my emotions. So I'm going to put all that stuff on you and put all that weight on you. And it's sickening. It's sickening and it's sad. It's so sad. And it's like, that's why I'm very cautious with dating, because I know the statistics and I know the diagnoses and I know what happens with unresolved trauma, to the point where I'm not just going to date anybody, because if you're not working on yourself, you know, then I'm putting myself in potential danger. Because I don't know what trigger or what response you may have to anything that upsets you. And I'm not saying all men, neither. No, there are men that I have men in my practice that come, and I'll just be like, where are these motherfuckers outside of therapy? These gentle people that want to learn and express their emotions and cry and be vulnerable and shit. I'd be like, where the fuck are these people in real life? Because I don't see them. Where the fuck are they? Just let me know where they live and shop at and aren't my clients. And aren't my clients, so that I can peruse and browse and feel safe. You know, like, so I'm not saying all men. I'm just saying that there's a good majority of men that have gone through shit, whether it's sexual trauma, whether it's societal trauma, whether it's physical abuse, whether it's emotional abuse, whether it's all of the above, and have not reconciled with it. And us as women are just going any, mini, mighty, mo, and hoping that we land on somebody that's worked through their shit. And it doesn't happen all the time. It's rare. It's a unicorn. It's a rare creature out in the wilderness. It's a rare creature. And so, I don't know. I hope this video finds some men and lets them know that it's okay to admit that you've been through things. It's okay to be emotional. It's okay to work through things. It's okay to cry. It's okay to journal. It's okay to go to therapy, most of all, you know. And if people are telling you it's not okay, then there's something wrong with them, not you, for wanting to get help, because shit happened to you and it's not okay. You didn't lose your virginity at 11 to a 15-year-old. That's not losing your virginity. You were molested. You didn't lose your virginity at 15 to your 35-year-old neighbor or teacher or whatever the fuck. You were molested. If you were a minor under the age of 18 and some grown person touched you sexually or talked to you sexually or put you in an uncomfortable sexual environment, you went through sexual trauma. You need to get help for it, because there's people out there willing to help. There's people out there willing to embrace. There's people out there willing to not judge you. Everyone is not going to hurt you like the first person that hurt you. I always like to think of it this way. If we look at the majority of people in our lives, the majority of people that we encounter on a regular basis tend to be pretty decent people. You know, all my classmates in my classes in high school and college and grad school, my neighbors, for the most part, it's always just that one or two motherfuckers, and let that one or two motherfuckers be in power, that leaves a lasting mark and makes us forget that most of the people we encounter are pretty good people. So go for the majority. Go for what are the majority people saying that is positive? You know, stop attaching yourself to the people that hurt you and then saying, oh, this is how everyone is. This is how everyone is going to treat me. This is how everyone responds. No, this is one fucking person that had issues and hurt you, and you experienced the consequences of their issues. You didn't cause it. You didn't make anything happen. You were just a deer in the headlights standing there, wrong place, wrong time, and they used you as an emotional punching bag. That's what that was, and it's hard to hear, but it's the truth. You didn't do anything wrong. You were just there, you know. Like, if I was crazy or something, because I call those people crazy, the ones that keep abusing people and acting like nothing's wrong, and then they continue and justify it. Those people are crazy to me. You're hurting people and you're justifying it and you don't care. As soon as you get help, you stop being crazy, because now you're logical and you can get help. But if there was something wrong with me like that, and I had all these emotional issues and shit like that, you know, the closest thing to me is my cat. I would hurt my cat. Oh, just the thought of it makes me feel nauseated. I wouldn't hurt Poof. No. Poof. But this is just an example, so it's not real. But yeah, I mean, she's the closest thing there is to hurt. I mean, that's all it is. What's the closest thing to me that I can put my pain on? And a lot of times it's people's children, because people feel like they can control their children and use their children and abuse their children and take what they want from their children. Their children can't do anything about it. So they're also cowards, because they're not going to face anybody. They're not going to like join a boxing club and practice boxing and box somebody bigger and stronger than them. No, that would be too healthy of a way to deal with your pain. No, they're going to go and fuck with their children because they're there and they're weaker than them. So it's not your fault. What happened to you, whatever type of trauma it was, it's not your fault. Even societal trauma, all that shit is based off of white supremacy and racism. And the goal is to slowly move out of that as much as possible and try our best to avoid people that perpetuate that type of shit. And be yourself, regardless if somebody is perpetuating it, as much as you can, because sometimes you got supervisors that just be towing the line of racism. And they do it so sneakily that you can't report it. And that's when you start planning on, how will I quit this job? How will I get the fuck up out of here? See, and then that motivates you to get the fuck up out of there. But yeah, I don't know. I feel bad for men, but at the same time, I give them no leeway, because there's memes, it's on television, you can look it up. Therapy is available, help is available, healing is available. There's shit on YouTube. Like, men will make videos on YouTube about sexual abuse and trauma and societal trauma and things like that you can watch to feel better and learn about yourself. So there's no excuse for perpetuating the behavior. Like maybe like back in like the 50s and the 60s when nobody knew about that they could get help and shit, like on Lovecraft Country, where, you know, Tick's dad, there was no shit back in the 50s, no literature on being gay, no, you know, no hyping up of therapy amongst the black community. So he just stumbled and fell down a hole and never found well, he did towards the end, but like Tick died, so that shit was dumb. But it was harder to find the motivation to fix yourself because there was nothing telling you that it was possible. So now there is. And there's no excuse. So I have no pity, no empathy, no sympathy for these motherfuckers that are going out here perpetuating trauma just because they were abused. No, you could fix that. You're choosing to maintain that. That is a logical choice in your brain to say, I'm gonna hit this bitch today. I'm gonna rape this person today. I'm gonna touch this child today. No, that's a logical choice. And 1 in 6 men have been abused. Sexually assaulted, abused, whatever, probably a higher number. So there's a lot of men walking around here that are emotional live wires, and that's why women are afraid. A lot of women may not be able to verbalize it that way, you know, but I'm a therapist, so, you know, I'm gonna say it how it is. That's why women are afraid. It's a crap shot, basically, if you're gonna get a decent man or not. And sometimes they're decent all the way up until the wedding night, and then they beat your ass on the wedding night. So it is what it is. That's the truth. You never know what trigger is going to be the trigger that pushes this person over the edge because they didn't work on their shit. So that's why a lot of women are scared. A lot of women are divesting from black men specifically because they have layers of trauma more so than other races. And it's unresolved. And y'all want to keep walking around with unresolved trauma and then taking it out on black women and women in general. And then expect women to be like, oh yes, I'm still gonna love you anyways, you know? Those women are manipulated into loving you. They don't really love you. They're manipulated into loving you. They're codependent at that point. People that accept your bullshit when it's abusive are codependent. They don't love you. They just are attached to you through trauma. They don't love you because to love somebody means that it's a mutual feeling. You both respect each other and you both come in working on shit individually and together in a partnership. You know, it doesn't mean I come in and I rule the roost and you do what the fuck I say when I say it, and we're not actually in a relationship. We're just having sex and stuff. So yeah, I don't know. What do you think of this video? I hope you all liked it. And as for the women that watch this video, don't walk around in fear. Just be more cautious when you see red flags. If you see a red flag, something that makes you feel uncomfortable, ask yourself these 3 questions. How am I feeling? What's triggering me? What do I need? I'm feeling scared. He keeps grazing my butt and I told him to stop on this date that I'm on. What do I need? I need to get the fuck in the car and leave. As safely as possible because he's not listening to me or respecting my boundaries and it's scaring the shit out of me. I need to leave. Notice the red flags as much as you possibly can. Don't make up red flags. Don't do that. Don't go to the extreme and be anxious and then start making up red flags. Oh, he had a certain tone to his voice when he said, you know, that thing. Girl, he was yawning. He was yawning. Don't do that. Don't get anxious and start trying to read into too deeply into every single move. You know when the red flag happens. It's those moments where you question if you should question this. That moment. Most likely you should question it then. And men, like I said, get help. Us women are getting help. So don't come for me and act like, you know, us black women are the most women that are in therapy, the most women that are entrepreneurs and in college. We're doing it. We're figuring it the fuck out.
I talked to somebody for 3 years and he never wanted a relationship. I was dating this boy, found out he was talking to another girl, and continued to stay with him.
Yeah. So I was crying for a relationship that I didn't even want back. I continued to talk to somebody after they sent me off a million times. I got played by somebody that wanted me first.
I be having sex just because I want to feel love.
I was talking to somebody that I knew was fucking other bitches and it was sad when I found out about it. I was freaking somebody for a long time that I wanted a relationship with and they didn't want one with me.
I was talking to somebody that broke up with me to talk to my best friend from elementary school.
I had a boy say it should have been your baby.
I hope y'all can, like, you know, my lips are ashy. I just washed my face. I'm letting my retin-A sit. People keep asking for a skincare routine. I'm just like, oh, my apartment's messy. I have to like make a space look. It's not messy like gross messy. It's messy like cluttered. There's clothes and shit everywhere and papers. But I mean, I guess I could do a skincare routine. Like, how do you do that? What do you do? Like, I guess I'll watch a few and then maybe figure out how to maneuver a skincare routine out of my nightly skincare routine. It's intricate. It's like 10 steps. I got into like Korean skincare like, how many? 2016? And I've just been tweaking shit here and there until I've gotten to the right space. And yeah, so probably maybe you might get a skincare routine. I don't know. This is all new and shit. I don't know. It's so intimate. You want me to be all up in my bathroom and see how I do my skincare? Okay, I guess. But yes, please like, comment, subscribe, share, all the things that the YouTubers with like thousands of viewers say. I'm probably not gonna take this shit seriously until I start getting paid. I just feel like, you know, the information I give out, I genuinely just want people to watch and hopefully find something interesting and helpful about it. And this is not like coming for men. This is just like, y'all don't have agency over your body and it's sad. Don't you want more control? Control means to be vulnerable and let go. And then when motherfuckers come and try to come for you, you set a boundary and you walk the fuck away. Like, that feels so much in control for me because then I can just be myself. I don't have to hide myself from anybody. I can just be me. Like, this is who you're. I'm not inebriated or anything like that. I'm just me. Like, this is like when people comment, but like there was a few people that were commenting like shit on my soul video. And I was just like, you will not be able to move me. There is a white woman in a black man's body. That is all I have to say about this. Y'all can sugarcoat it. Like, it's the reason why you will never see me review Bridgerton. I got through 3 episodes, and after the 10th longing gaze that black man was giving that basic white woman, after seeing all of the dark-skinned characters resignated to the background, and the only characters of color were light-skinned, and, you know, one older mammy woman that was darker skinned. I was just like, you know, this is triggering. I need to go, and I've been reading a lot of Brenda Jackson novels because they're black characters and it's romance, and my thing in high school was reading romance novels. That was my coping skill. And so I resurrected that, and whenever I feel like it's too much with the colorism shit on the television, I will sit and I will put on a Brenda Jackson, audiobook, because her characters are black, it's romance, and it's not messy romance like Zayn, like, oh, he's on the down low too, and she has 5 kids, and they are part of a kink group, and it's like, I don't want to, I have no negativity towards it, but I'm a romantic at heart, and Brenda Jackson is one of the few black writers that will write an actual romance novel with black characters. and without all the extras. You know, it's very generic, very corny, and I love it. Dark-skinned chocolate man, dark-skinned chocolate woman, they have good jobs, they fall in love, and they play hard to get at first, and then they fall in love. Very generic, very corny, and it's rare to see that with black romance novels. So, yes, that's what I've been doing to I'm not watching Bridgerton. Don't ask me to review Bridgerton. This is my slight at the end of this video review of Bridgerton. It's trash. I will not be made to feel less than. Shit, I don't care. I'm tired. I'm tired of seeing all of these multiracial couples on the television, and we can't see one black on dark skin couple. I don't care. I don't care. I mean, if there was a good mixture in media, then I would let's have it all, but it's not. So it's only that our light skin are ambiguously of color skin. And no. I'm not watching Bridgerton. What else am I not watching? Anything that has to do with lighter skinned people being the lead character. For now, I can't. I'm sorry. There is not a good enough mixture in the pot. I am triggered. I'm tired. I'm not reviewing shit that has a lighter skinned character as a main character. I might watch it just because it's something to watch, depending on how triggering it is. Because Bridgerton, that woman was basic. She was not the lighter skinned bitch that was like in competition with her, but apparently she gets this downtrodden she got pregnant and they sent her off to marry some, and it's like, really, even like the main character that was light skinned gets some bullshit ass I'm not watching that. Y'all want me to trigger myself and I refuse. But yeah, this lasted longer than I expected. I hope you like this video. Like, share, subscribe, save. Wait, like, share, subscribe. I don't know, save it too if you want to watch it again later on. Fucking okay. Later days.